like that intro. The beat was hard. I was about to spit some flame for y'all, but freestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on, everybody? Quez, you gonna introduce everybody?
Yeah, man. I'm about to get this camera right.
Hey, Black, do we broadcast on Facebook too, or is it just YouTube?
Just YouTube.
It should be,
Yeah. All right, everybody. We got Von, Romeo, the Love Alchemist. we got
Round of applause, round of applause, round of applause.
we got we got Pimp Gorilla Pink, Slick Back Pimping,
That's right.
Dirty Folks on
Right
the
hand still work.
mic. And tonight we're gonna discuss this Ukraine and Russia situation.
Wait.
How it
Who
applies
else?
to y'all
Who's
black
still on the
asses.
introduction? What about you, man? We gotta introduce Quasi.
Oh man, you know Quincy
Bowtie
here,
Fly.
Bowtie Fly, you know what I'm saying? AKA the misogynistic simp.
Simp. And then we
Living
got
a lie to y'all.
we got Mr. Dirty Folks
Hey, you see,
with an iron fist with brass
see
knuckles.
my man slid through with his grandfather's sweater from 1969,
That's it.
and the hat. He went in the attic for that outfit. I like it though.
All right. So how does war in Russia and Ukraine apply to their black asses? I'm gonna start with you, Dirty Folks.
You know what? I'm a reserve. I'm gonna let somebody else go first, man. But I will say this though. I got my men TE out there in Japan in the Marines, so they like war ready. They every day. Like I talk to them every day, and so I got a certain type of different different circumstance. So but I will say this though. I know we're going to war in the next 2 weeks. I don't know if it's going to be World War III, but I know we're going to go to war, and I know when all that happens, you know, during times of turbulence, that's when power is grabbed. So either we'll watch other people grab the power, or we'll get some power. But I doubt if colors do shit because they too busy trying to get some pussy. But we'll see what happens.
Okay. What you gotta say, Pete?
I agree. It's anytime there's a war, it's really just a power grab. As far as everybody saying World War III, I think everybody think gun blazing, nukes, shit like that. It really isn't that. The war is more. There's going to be some physical attributes, but more so, most of this war is fought with money, power, technology, and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, one man busts his nuke, everybody busts their nuke, everybody loses. There's no winning the nukes popping off. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is, it's always that fear factor. There's always that, I got a big gun and that's it. But it's really what it is I think it's just a great reset. You know what I'm saying? Financial system is changing, technology is changing, the way of life is changing, everything is changing. So there is always an adjustment. And sometimes you need, when you ever look at like the other world wars, it was always a major change in climate on how the world operates from World War I, World War II, stuff like even Vietnam War, it changed a few things. And war is always about money. It's always been about that, money and power. It's what I'm saying? It's never, it's always somebody want to take over somebody don't want to, comply. And, that's it. So as far as my thought on the war itself, how does it affect black folks?
Yeah.
Well, they say Russia hacking, so if they hack EBTs, niggas is out. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'll say this: it could be good for black folks, and it could be bad, right? Because change is gonna come. We are in a technology age. We're talking about AI. We're talking about currency changes like crypto. We're talking about, you got the metaverse. You got all these things. And one of the reasons why I think it's a cover for something is because 20% of the jobs that are out there are about to go to robots, AI, and other forms of technology. So the whole, we went from slave to wage to now, I think cattle. I think 20% of people are going to be really obsolete because they're not going to be able to produce. And it's going to, whoever doesn't fit in. And the reason why I say it could be good for Black folks, because it's like all things, right? When something is new, if you are part of that curve of the newness, you can actually win if others are not jumping on it. You know what I'm saying? So we may assume that all, let's say, because we always, white supremacist folks, you might think they on it and they really aren't. You know what I'm saying? They just the guys that got the guns and think it's all about war and don't realize they're not preparing for technology. Like a lot of people are going to be out, not just Black folks. It's going to be everybody, and probably more of white America because, they take 65% of the population, but yet they, what is it, 70%, 80% illiteracy rate? You know what I mean? So if they're not on it, because we got this assumption all white is right? They got all their shit together. It really isn't. The highest level of poverty is the white community. So I think it's going to affect them more because we only take up like 15%. Hispanics take like 13 or 15, right under us. Jobs that require like physical work are going to be obsolete. So whoever's really, like cooks in fast food restaurants, all that shit, a lot of that shit gonna be fucking out the window. And if you're on that bottom pile, you fucked. So if you're not equipped with technology, blockchain, all of that, then you're out. Now the good thing about these new creations that they're new, and you could capitalize. There's people capitalizing like on NFTs. I have to, and I say this is personal. I have a son who could draw, and I'm trying to get him to really get into it. I saw like articles, a little girl drew NFTs and at 12 years old made $1 million. There was another older sister and some just men and people who get into it, and they're buying and selling NFTs and they're making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, 6 figures, 7 figures, some probably touching 8 figures. And imagine, buying a NFT for, let's say, a couple $100, like what is it, the eight Yacht Club or something like that. When it came out, it was probably $700, $800. And you imagine just buying one. Now they're moving for like 200, 300,000. And all you did was just buy it for like, $500, $600. And then later it just appreciated value. It's digital art, music industry, all that is going to change. People are now, what's his name? Tory Lanez was like one of the first artists to put his album as an NFT. And it's a good way, like everybody gets paid because there's residual. Like every time the NFT is sold, a percentage goes to the owner. So, there's just going to be like a new hustle. It's just a be from this opposed to, back in the days, selling newspapers, selling candy, selling crack, aka Joe Biden, so that's my spiel.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Hey, so what you guys say about that, Vaughn? That was Joe Biden that just asked what we talking about.
What are we talking about? Come on, man. That's
Really,
my favorite person.
Right. I don't really have a whole lot to add, man. I think, there's a lot of theories out here, right? But I don't think anybody really knows, especially on our level. I don't think anybody really knows until we know. And sometimes we don't even know until we learn in reverse, maybe sometimes 5 years from now, 10, 20 years from now, what actually went down, right? I don't know if anybody's seen this movie called Wag the Dog, but a lot of this stuff is theater, you know what I mean? And propaganda. And so we really don't know. But I do know this: if there is really some kind of war popping off and chaos, then the people who are the most organized will benefit the most, and of course, those who are least organized will suffer disproportionately. Now, how does that affect us? I think, generally speaking, as a collective, we are the least organized. And so while there will be some individual wins, some on a collective level, like I said, we're the most disorganized. So disproportionately, those who are disorganized suffer the most. That's it. I mean, like to the point, one of the points that Pete made, that this is going to thin the herd quite a bit, and it's probably going to be a lot of casualty, a lot of loss. We'll see it play out, man. But like I said, we don't. One thing I know for sure is that we don't know.
Yeah. I think it's just going to erase the non-productive, who can't be productive in the new society that's coming.
I mean, how do you think, in comparison to how Ukraine is united, how does that compare to our situation as blacks in America?
I mean, it's going to be get down or lay down. You know what I'm saying? Because when you talk about 20% of the of the workforce being removed, you know what I'm saying? That's high crime. That's high everything. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight within that sphere. And it's also going to be those that are going to try and contain it so it doesn't leach over. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to have that kind of shit go down when you're trying to charge people $5,000 a month in rent for 1 bedroom? You know what I'm saying? When gasoline be like $10, shit like that, and you got folks that barely can eat and maybe can't even earn because they're just not needed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, back in the days, you broke and you need a job, you could easily go work in somebody's kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's food prep or whatever. But then imagine just a robot that's taking care of all of that shit. Like all the small shit that motherfuckers could get on that is legal, but they can't do. Truck drivers are will be positioned because you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of shit that people would do on the side that's legal. Like I'll say this, my buddy, his pops didn't drive trucks, but he knew the truck drivers and he would work with them. He might ride with them because they have to unload stuff. And some people, work like furniture, moving furniture state to state for companies. You know what I'm saying? When that shit gets, handled by a robot in a car that doesn't have anybody in there to drive, those hustles that kept a separate economy, fucked up. And even if you have it where you used to get over at, you're gonna get taxed, right? Cash App. You know what I'm saying? That's why they had to put a tax on Cash App and Venmo for $600 because it's gonna be a cashless society. So the only way people are gonna be able to do small transactions without having a bank account is through those. That's why people have Cash App. They only got real bank accounts. They just got Cash App or Venmo, mainly Cash App, and that's how they transact. You know what I'm saying? Cash App me, Cash App, I Cash App you. However, once we go into crypto, there's really no cash. There's places I go that says we don't accept cash. I went to go grab something to eat, and it was like, yo, no cash. Every restaurants, because that was part of what the CV19, right, was about, pushing us in a cashless society. So most people are not doing cash, and that's so no more. You can have to buy your crack, via Cash App. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Wait. To answer the original question, man, how it affects that? Check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's tribal, right? Everybody's tribal.
Yeah.
Including the people y'all call Pookies, they tribal. They're the most tribal. when I saw Ukraine, what I saw was Ukrainians first. I'm not saying that there was like I'm not saying Ukraine is united. No place is united until a tragedy happens.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But what happened was the Ukrainian men were required to stay. They put their women and children on the train to get up out of there. Ukraine to me is black. That's why I don't really trip on the black shit. Ukraine is the epitome of what happens when you're black. So you have all these Nigerians, Kenyans, Ethiopians who are the innovators of the world. I've seen the things that they built. Hydroelectric generators. They've done some phenomenal things over there. But they can't go to school in their own land. So they have to go to school in England and the United States. And if they broke, they got to go to Ukraine in order to get an education to take back to their land. But Africa is a continent. There's what, 50 countries in that continent, 42 countries in that continent. So nobody is organized enough to handle what they have to handle for people to stay at home. Not only that, none of their embassies are strong enough to get their people out. So basically, Russia punked out Africa without even messing with Africa. You know what I'm saying? All they showed was that when you have because might makes right? Even in America, might makes right. The greatest thing about America and the European powers is that they rule by force, but they're ruled by competency. Well, not now because all the baby boomers in there, but when they die, we'll be back at it. So, but Africa ain't holding down shit. They can't even get their people there. Now all the colors are talking about Ukraine is racist. Ukraine ain't racist. They tribal. Me and mine first, and then after me and mine straight, if there's some time left over, then you can come along. But you weren't supposed to be here in the first place, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I see it as like when I was a kid, we used to go places as men. We used to go places that we weren't supposed to go to chase some trend, right? Chicago is the second most racist city in America, only behind Boston. And even Boston ain't that bad no more. And Chicago not either, low key. But in the 90s, there were entire communities you couldn't go to. You couldn't go to the projects because you ain't know those boys. You couldn't go to different gang sets unless you got a pass. You better not just pop up. You couldn't go to Puerto Rican neighborhoods like Humboldt Park. You couldn't go to Mexican neighborhoods like 98th and Avenue O or Little Mexico. There were a bunch of places that you weren't really allowed to go, that you would risk your life to go to chase some trend. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
You'll walk in the projects and it's 97 niggas outside with pistols selling crack and weed, and some chick on the 11th floor like, let them up, come on. And you're like, man, I can't even argue with this bitch, so I ain't gonna make it out. You know what I'm saying? That is the equivalent of Africans going and chasing an education in a foreign land, especially when they knew everything that was going on. That's another thing about colors, because they can't be on time for work, and when they're on time, they want to get off early.
Yep.
So you knew this Ukrainian thing was buzzing, and you didn't leave. You heard the warning, you didn't leave. The motherfuckers went to the border, didn't leave. Niggas started bombing shit. Oh my God, I gotta get on the train. Nigga, this one, what the fuck was you doing, B?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, goddamn right.
That's right.
So to be aware, to be alive, man, 90% of protection is prevention. You could have prevented all this shit from a grassroots level. So if anything that colored America needs to take from this is to tribe up, to find a particular type of people, not the people that you like, because the people that you like don't do shit. Find the capable people and network and subscribe on how you're gonna subscribe that way. But that's what I got out of it.
So, Vaughn, should black women and black men should start tribing up?
It's late, man. It's late. We late to the party, but I will say this. Short answer, we should have a long time ago. And I think just in terms of what it means to be organized, as much as anything, it starts with just the basic family unit. And our basic family units are more disorganized than anybody else. So, yeah, we're real late to that party, man. But without it, like I said, we're gonna have some individual wins, some isolated wins, but on a collective level, we're in trouble.
I don't know. You know, I don't agree with that, but that's okay.
Okay. Shoot.
I mean, I just don't believe it starts at the basic family unit. I just don't agree with that part. But I'm with you though. We late to the party. I will say this though, because black is only for women, gays, and felons. So when you look at what Black America does, and I talk about this when people start talking about reparations. If the colors understood how much money the government gives for black causes that women, gays, and felons steal, and pastors, but I'm adding it with the gays.
Because they be
and the felons, because all those pastors are ex-felons, and they got their ministry while they was in jail.
Mm-hmm. And pedos, but
shout out to Kale. Anyway, they give so much money per year to all the colored organizations. Here's the reason that the colors never see the money, and I've talked about this before though, is because in order to get federal funds, you have to have a satellite office in at least 26 states. The only organizations that are that organized, well, not even just organized, but have the satellite locations are churches. So one of the things that Martin Luther King started that Jesse Jackson finished was setting up the Black Baptist Coalition. So when you look at all of the black organizations, whether it's the Urban League, NAACP, whoever, there's a black pastor as the president. The reason he does that is because they use the church as a front in order to say that all of those churches are satellite locations, so they get the straight federal funds, right? So it's not a state block grant; they're getting it straight from daddy government, and all they do is steal the money. All these fucking pastors do is steal the money, and they give you a food kitchen or some goofy shit, and then everybody say ain't nobody looking out, but the pastors are straight. So when it comes down to who's going to be protected, women, gays, and felons. Who we going to riot for? Women, gays, and felons. Who we going to give beneficial treatment to? Women, gays, and felons. Who does the money come for? Heterosexual, tawny men. Black Lives Matter, kill a man, get the money to a gay woman. You know what I'm saying? In every situation, everybody monetizes off the blood of tawny black men. So we really on our own. That's why I don't believe in the family unit, because these chicks is not on our side. They never been on our side. You may have, that's an individual win. You have a wife, that's an individual win. There's a reason only 9% of black women under 50 years old are married, because they're horrible human beings. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Pussy is delicious. I'll sleep with the enemy, but at least I know they're the enemy. When black men stick together and make it happen, then it'll happen.
Yeah. I mean, but you got to agree with that on that. It is an individual win, right? Because you know what I'm saying? It is, right? You married Black, you married Vaughn, right? Y'all got y'all own wives, and so it's an individual win. It doesn't necessarily change the fabric of the community, because right, community is to commune with each other. Now, if you have multiple families, really which is a tribe, you know what I'm saying? That's how it was, right? You go Africa, Indian, native. Natives or indigenous to any land, it was always tribes. So, and some had, multiple wives for the sake of the community. You know what I'm saying? So I could see why that doesn't, it is an individual win opposed to a win for, at one time, it was probably a communion win because we all communed in the same area. And everybody kind of had their wives or families, and everybody shared the same interests. And a lot of it was just because the way America was designed, we were always pushed in a 4 or 5 block radius. You know what I'm saying? But now we're allowed to kind of scatter it out more. And the design of how, I would say primarily, and this is proven statistically, is the women. You know what I'm saying? The way the black women are designed right now. You know, when you look at the stats, they're not pushing family. They're not. Like, when you pull it up, 72% of Black fathers are married, right? So the intent is create a family, create a community. 16% at least cohabitate. So even if they don't have the legal title of marriage or wife or husband, the fact that they're in a house, they are creating a family structure. So you have 88% of Black fathers that are subscribing to what Vaughn says, that it says it requires family, right? And hopefully it creates a level of tribalism. And only 12% are outside of that. And even the ones that are outside, though they may not be in the house, they still are looking to raise their children because whatever reason it didn't work out with the mother of their child. Everybody has their story. There's only about 5% that are just totally like, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? They're not there. They're not doing whatever. So when you look at it on that level, okay, let's just say that is the solution. But women have to be on the same page as men. When you reverse that and look at Black women, their rate of Black mothers being married is only 37%. And then the ones that at least cohabitate is only 8%. So it's only 47% of the average Black mother that subscribes to the family is where it starts in the community, you know, the commune, right? And 56% of single mothers, of Black mothers are single. And I remember I shared the video with Tommy Sotomayor. He talked about it. He was like, yo, so when we say that, even if we agree, Black men are more on board with the shit than Black women.
Black women don't matter, man. No woman matters. Women do what men allow.
Oh, let Vaughn rock.
Mm-hmm.
I think even if that's true, right? And I'll just play with the narrative that you presented, Pete. Even if Black men want this structure that you talk about,
right?
Our culture does not produce the type of mindset in our men that would educate them or inform them or prepare them to bring about that kind of family structure, right? And so this is why I always go back to the cultural aspect. So we want things, but we don't know how to bring them to fruition. So like I hear, I shared a post the other day talking about that, how most of our references, most people's references, as it pertains to how we relate to the opposite sex, men and women, are toxic or dysfunctional. Most of our references are dysfunctional relationships, and so even when I hear you and even you folks, how you make references to women, you know, in the derogatory ways that you do, that's indicative of the dysfunctional references that you have. So, and we are, look, my primary references were dysfunctional too. So I'm not sitting there throwing stones as if I'm, you know, coming from a much better place than that. But the point is still the same. If this is the culture that's producing these ill-prepared women or uncooperative women, this is the same culture that's producing the men or the males that come from that. And I don't care what decade you go back in, we do not have, and let's say, because a lot of people like, especially in the red pill community, they like to reference the 60s, how we had, you know, 80% two-parent households. But even if you go back before that, right, let's go back to the 40s, 30s, 20s. At what decade would you say that our culture, particularly as it pertains to what our men produce for that culture, at what point would you say that our men produce the type of culture that will bring about a different outcome than the results that we have right now?
Okay, I can answer that. That's not even a hard answer. Okay, check this out. Culturally speaking, if you even go back to the 1880s, right? When you look at blacks coming from zero money, they were 0.1% of the economy, right? And in 40 years, they went to 2% of the economy before they started the second wave of Great Migration to bring in the Jews and the Irish and the Italians to take the jobs from the colors, because America was and is racist, not nearly as racist as it was, not nearly as racist as it was in 1980, but in 1880 was very much more so. But men created the culture. Here's the funny thing about Black history: when men do something, they name the thing. When women do something, they name the woman, right? So you may have somebody like R.J. Osley, who bought 40 acres in a neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and lent people money to start businesses, but they'll never say Osley created a community. They'll call it Black Wall Street. However, a fat chick can make a comb, and everybody know about C.J. Walker. So it's not the fact that men weren't doing anything. It's the fact that Black men are really being put as a part of great man history. But that's a different story. When you start talking about anything before that, I don't know why they started the 1960s either. But when you start talking about anything before the 1960s, even with that, even with my grandparents being married until the day my grandfather died at 69 years old, got married at 18, stayed together to his death. Even with that, my grandmother was a bra burner. So it wasn't like people were really united then. It's not like that those couples that were married in 1960 didn't end up in the 2000s sleeping in separate bedrooms, not liking each other. So I don't know why they go back to the 1960s. I really don't. But they don't get no pussy, that's why. Anyway, but the side effect is this. And what I think that colors do is play crayon games. And they include everybody. They include women, they include other ethnicities, other nationalities. They talk about Black and brown coalitions. Mexicans don't give a fuck about us. They got their own language, their own origin story, their own country, their own embassy. They don't share the same problems. You know what I'm saying? And then they say Africans don't share the same problems. The Africans they see in America are the top-notch Africans that got to get student visas and all that. So they don't share the same problems.
And they have their own embassies.
Black men have a unique problem, baby. But every problem has a solution. The problem with Black culture, when you ask why doesn't the culture build those type of people, the culture is built to impress 16-year-old girls. The culture is built that if you read past the 6th grade level, they say you acting white. The culture is built for dumbness. So you won't listen to Dr. Amos. You won't listen to what's my man name? There's a million of them. But they don't take in that type of content. Even if you don't agree with it, you don't take all the content together and say, well, if this great man and this great man and this intellectual says such and such, maybe the solution is somewhere in the middle. They don't do that. What they do is it's the minstrel culture. So you're asking why the culture doesn't. It's a minstrel culture. So what they care about is sports, music, and comedy. And they look at their success stories and they try to make their celebrities their spokespeople, because that's how they see their power. They don't see power. If you get somebody like Robert Smith, they call him a coon just because he sleep with a white girl. If you look at somebody like what's my man name?
Byron Allen.
Byron Allen. They call him a coon because he married a white girl. Me personally, I don't even really damn near trust Black men who marry Black women because they don't do shit. Anytime I see somebody giving opportunities, they can't be married to a white girl. Or they single. You know what I'm saying? So it's just weird.
The question was, at what point in time can you reference where we as the men established the type of culture that would have brought about different outcomes than the one that we're experiencing? And I referenced that.
I'm giving the answer. It's 80 to 1920. But go ahead. But since then, what they talking about? No, you're right. They talk about 1960s and up. You're right. Yeah.
And even when you talk about, so let's say Black Wall Street, that would be that's a shining example of we call it isolated wins, but the larger collective was still losing drastically.
Not really, because you had Riley, you had actually I'm gonna correct you on that. That was like a small Black Wall Street was small and comparative. You had Riley where it had like the Mechanics Bank and stuff like that. You had Rosewood, so there weren't. That's just the one that's known because they got bombed, and that's the only reason why you heard of it. And it's always, it's brought up, but there were many Black towns that were thriving.
Peoria, Illinois, Chicago.
So many. Yep,
Yeah.
Chicago. I forgot who the founder of Chicago was.
Yeah,
Even
we
New
had
York City.
New York City.
Me and Oak was talking about Central Park. Blacks lived there, and they moved them out. So here's the thing: it was happening, and actually, the marriage rate was the highest of anybody in the country.
The point that I'm making,
we had the highest rate. It's only around the 1950s, 60s is where we started declining it so much. That's why it seems like white people are marrying more, and in reality, they're really, they caught up because of what happened. So it really twisted once really the civil rights movement, which is really offshoot of feminism, but it happened around then. And before that, we were keeping a culture. It wasn't until the feminist movement started kicking in during the civil rights movement that is separated, because that's the only thing that kept away the families, right? Remember, 80% of children were born in two-family homes until about the 1950s. And feminism started coming in the 40s while the uprising of the
what you gotta say, Von? I see you shaking your head. What you?
Well, I'm not rejecting feminism as an influence. That was definitely a major factor. But something happened before feminism, the same way. And again, let me also before
so,
I go here.
So what happened?
Yeah. So here's what I'm saying. I know that there were towns that we had Rosewood, we had Tulsa, we had
Raleigh,
New York, what do you call it? Central Park,
Chicago, Raleigh.
Right. We had our areas for sure, but the point was that the masses were still suffering disproportionately with respect to the rest of America. So, and I could be incorrect on that, but my assertion is that the overwhelming majority of us, the overwhelming majority of so-called Black people in this country, were still suffering, right? Abject poverty. Just
white folks were suffering too.
Yeah, everybody was suffering.
Everybody was suffering.
I'm not saying that they weren't. I'm talking
even
about
to this day, white people have the highest level of poverty. They just don't advertise it because of fucking media.
Can I finish?
Yeah. I'll just cursing out media.
I'm talking about proportionate to the size of your population. Black America has always suffered greater percentages, not numbers. There've always been a larger number of white folks suffering, but percentage-wise, I think it's always been disproportionately against us, right? And here's an example of that. When you talk about Tulsa, Black Wall Street, it was destroyed not by feminism, right? They had created their own little culture there, but it wasn't destroyed by feminism. It was destroyed by the government. So those people had to reset, and they never recovered from that, right? And then if you and in any of those cities that you mentioned, whether you want to go to Rosewood or Central Park, wherever you go, it wasn't feminism that undermined what Black folk had established. It was the United States. It was the local militia, if you want to call them that, with the cooperation of the United States government. That's what pushed our reset button, not feminism. That's my point.
Yeah, but that when we talk about the reset, we're talking about it wasn't even a reset button. You're talking about the family dynamics, because that's where it began to disrupt. Like, you could break down and build back up, like you said, if you have the family in the tribal structure. But when that shit started ending was because of the introduction of feminism. You know what I'm saying? Because Tulsa happened in the 1920s. You know what I'm saying? After that happened, then the role of feminism started kicking in, along with the civil rights movement kicked in. You know what I'm saying? Which I think was right. Like there's two separate ideals, and you're combining it as if to say, yo, men have failed. When we talk about culture, you know what I'm saying? Black men losing their power of resource and community, meaning their homes and shit got bombed. That's one thing. But when you're talking about losing the culture, where the culture was that majority of black men and women who had families and children were married, to the divide of that was not because Tulsa got bombed and then everybody said, yo, let's be single mothers. The single mother rise came in the 50s and 60s when civil rights movement kicked in. And look, matter of fact, right after King died, Coretta Scott started talking feminism. and everybody and all of that. And that's where it was like, hey, feminism came in. That's where the ideal was. You don't need your man. You don't necessarily have to be married.
Hey, hold on, wait. Let me say this.
So
Women, I don't care what race they are. Women have never liked their men ever. In order to get women to come to Europe,
It's not just a black woman thing.
no women like. But
Okay.
in order to get women to come to America, they had to promise that the life expectancy of men was 7 years. So when he died, she'd get the house. You know what I'm saying? The women's Reformation movement was in line with the Black Reconstruction movement. So as soon as black men were allowed to vote, women was like, yo, fuck this shit. There's never been a time that women were really on your side unless she was cute and smart enough to get married and let somebody take care of her. But if they thought they could take care of themselves, they did their own thing. Until they hit the wall and realize life is hard, then they want a man. But anyway, I digress.
And why would they?
The fuck them. That shit, they can't even. The eggs dry, pussy dry. Anyway, the bombing of Tulsa isn't even a big thing because if you look at Oklahoma and Kansas, their houses get destroyed every goddamn year, and they be like, "We're gonna rebuild, John," every year. So even that's
You don't
not
think that's different?
huh?
You don't think a natural disaster is different from a purposeful destruction by your own government that's supposed to be protecting you?
Yes, but
Okay, that's
it
what I'm
doesn't.
saying.
But it doesn't stop you. If you're not gonna die, then rebuild.
rebuild.
You know what I'm saying? If they
And I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with the effort to rebuild. Two things I want to address. One, I'm never talking about the failure of black men in that context. I don't sit here and say that black men ain't, do their job and that's why we fail. That's not my point at all. My point is the war came, war was waged on your community and you lost. We lost, our ancestors lost. And that's the reason, not because we just dropped the ball. No, we didn't have adequate defense to protect what we had established. And
You know
so
what
when Big Bang takes over,
I'll let you bang.
But
Right.
everybody lost. Like
No,
every
no. That's not. But I'm gonna let him say his thing though. Go ahead.
Yeah. I ain't talking about everybody. I'm talking about us. I don't want to start generalizing and casting this wide net when we start talking about what actually happened to us, right? So I'm talking about black folk in this country, right? So if your own government comes in with the purpose to dismantle what it is that you've established, they're not going to just sit back and watch you rebuild without trying to put a wrench in your plans,
I agree
right?
with that.
So when you
Take away
talk
them
about
place.
well, let me land here. When you talk about feminism, right? Just to the point that Oak made earlier, our marriages, when you talk about 1865, and then you have these so-called glory years from in the 1920s where Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma was booming, and many of these other cities were booming. And fast forward to how Oak said his grandfather died at 69, but they were sleeping in separate bedrooms.
Well, no, they
That's
wasn't. But
indicative.
I'm saying the boomers were. No, my grandparents slept in the same bedroom. I'm just saying my
not
grandmother
necessarily yours.
burned bras.
Right,
That's
but
all
we
I'm
know how common it was for grandparents, not to like each other, and that's
No,
the
that's
cultural
fact.
issue.
That's right.
That's a cultural issue. We didn't have the type of indoctrination. What we pieced together after slavery was a miracle, right? The fact that we were even able to formulate something that resembled healthy families was remarkable with what we were left with and trying to put together those pieces. So then, when they destroyed your financial means, when they come in and boom, like the Gap Band saying, you dropped the bomb on me, right? When they came in and dismantled what you built and then offered your women feminism and project housing and all these other things, it was easy for not necessarily easy, but it was a much simpler equation because you already didn't have the cultural structure to withstand something like that.
Oh, okay.
I
I just want to say something to that real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. I just want to say something to that.
Go ahead.
The boom of the 1870s to 1920s was despite black women, not because of. You have to understand, once slavery was over, so many black women tried to marry white men that white people, that the Karens was like, y'all got to do something about this. Marriage licenses exist because they needed to pay a fee to list your race, so black women would quit trying to marry white men. That's why I don't listen to these bitches when they talk about swirling. The whole thing is they never liked you. But so the only men who got a black woman were the ones that were left out. Like he was a consolation prize then, he's a consolation prize now. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, culture is built by men. So even when you guys start talking about all the family structure shit, you're still including girls and men games. The only thing that feminism did, well, one of the things feminism did, first and second wave feminism, was take away the economic base, right? So now, not only because black women have always worked, always.
Yep.
White women were trying to work. Black women have always worked. So all they did was by necessity or by desire, but they always worked. All they did was told black women, check it, and they still do it. George Bush did it. George Bush Senior did it, and Junior said, "Man, the economy's fucked up. Common sense will tell you if the economy's messed up, save your money. What do they tell you? We need to kickstart the economy by spending. Who's the biggest spenders? Women. Who's the biggest demographic of women that spend? Black women, because they hate each other and they hate themselves, so they got to do cosplay every goddamn day. That's expensive. So now I'm just saying. So when you start talking about, even when I talk to black dudes, they say, "Oh, you can't do that if you run a business because black women are the biggest spenders." And I say, "Yo, check this out. If black women are the biggest spenders, but they're talking about black women only have a savings of $5, then that means that they're spending all the resources that men would normally have in order to build, right? And then they're asking men for resources in order to date, take care of, do all the toddler stuff, give them food, shelter, clothing. So they want to.
That's not black.
But
American. That's not black.
Dude, black. You see it every day. Every black chick on YouTube or any social media platform, quick to tell you how.
I'm not saying black women don't do that. I'm not saying black women don't do that. I'm saying it's an American issue. That's an American thing. That's an American.
No, because other countries are buying into it. Whatever.
No. He says it's an American issue. Okay, here's the American issue then. Because I speak to women of other ethnic groups.
Yep.
What women of other ethnic groups do is what their husbands allow them to do. Now they have an allowance, they have a budget, but just like in the last time we talked about, and Ron, you brought that up about how Asians, Arabs, and Koreans employ their women in the stores in which they own. So he regulates her income, and he keeps her busy so she can't be out shopping while he's earning money. That's a win-win. What blacks do, and I hate this. I hate all these niggas talking about let's go 50-50, it's too expensive. It's not too expensive. You just got to find somewhere that you can afford to live and find a chick who can't read to live with you. You know what I'm saying? So she can watch this.
Mm-hmm. Say who can't read?
Can't read because as soon as she can read, she want to go to straight.
So as she can read, she want to.
Come on, man.
Hey,
come on.
That's my favorite right there. Yes, Quessy with the come through.
Hey,
that is such a Eurocentric ideology, man.
That's not Eurocentric. When I talk to other ethnic groups, these women still work farms. Like they have like a home farm. It's not like a real farm, but they're like, yeah, we got a couple chickens. Mexicans do it all the time. Go through the hood. You be in the ghetto. Mexicans got chickens in the backyard. Mm-hmm. People farm for what they eat. People tighten their belts. People have goals. They say, man, we have to get X amount of money in order to hit our price point so we can make a move. Colored culture is what 16-year-old girls like. And 16-year-old girls like niggas in box Chevys with rims. So that's where your culture is stuck. You know what I'm saying? And if you say, yo, check this out, dog, we're going to do something different. They say they exclude you from the culture, say you acting white. We need to do a protest parade. Fuck, you know what I'm saying, saving a couple dollars. Fuck, you know what I'm saying, putting competent people in administrative positions, business owners, professionals. No. We're going to get activists with the keyword act. We're going to put our actors in office, you know what I'm saying, and we're going to do protest parades. That's what the colors are about.
Can I inject?
Go ahead.
What's going on, Internet land? I want to send a reminder to Cash App Tribe Power and donate some love to these gentlemen that's giving their time and their passion. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, I think you made a real important point. How you know we tease each other about being white. You know when somebody's excelling academically, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so common that no matter what city that you're in as a black person, you can relate to that idea, right? The smart kids being bullied because of their intelligence or their academic excellence, and that's what I'm talking about, man. Like that's a cultural issue. That's not even just a black issue. I mean, that happens all over the place. But equally, I think it's even more impactful in a community that's suffering disproportionately, so that your greatest thinkers and your greatest potential builders are ostracized to the point where they don't even feel like they're at home when they're among you. That's a cultural dynamic that I don't even know that you can recover from that. I don't even know a way around that.
Well,
But
I mean, here's the thing. Oh, go ahead. My bad. Well, I mean, when we say culture, right? One of the things is we feel like Black men own the culture or responsible. You know, everything cycles, like what life cycles is what every 7 years or something like that. Something shifts, and generally generational is like about 14 to 21 years. So here's the thing. We've been like probably 3-4 generations removed. And in the last 3 generations, the culture is ran as a matriarch and controlled by the women, because whoever controls the children controls the culture, right? So whoever has ownership of the children, the moment a woman gets pregnant, she immediately gets ownership. Prior to, I think, was it the 40s, if a woman divorced the man had the right to the child. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no law that protected the woman taking the child. So if she tried to take the children, she can't beat the man. The man will whoop her ass, and she had to go about her way, which allowed men to preserve culture. So they were really in control of the culture, because who control the kids control the culture. That's what you pass down. You know what I'm saying? So if the woman wanted to exit, that's what they did. The woman could have 4 kids and she wanted to exit the relationship, she could, but she was not getting the children. And that's who controls the culture. The reason why we have the culture now is because if a man and a woman split, she gets the kids. And the only way the man could do it is, one, he got to try and take her to court, get a blood test, and even then, he's not going to get custody. He'll get co-custody or partial custody, and it will cost them thousands of dollars just to do that, to have an 18-year worth of headaches, because she's going to do what the fuck she want to do, irregardless of what he says. So women have been controlling this shit. Black women have been controlling the culture that you say is dysfunctional, and has been for the last 60 years. And the men that you want to fix it are the men that are born into that culture. It's not like, you know, maybe you and I, Vaughn and Crazy, who are all Gen X, that have some tie to what happened in the 60s and the 50s. You know what I'm saying? These kids have no idea. They grew up with no daddy in the house. And they grew up in a different environment that makes them less of a man, because they're raised by women, and women only, what these Black women raise, killers, cowards, and gays. You know what I'm saying? So either these boys are killers, they're cowards, or they're gays. And now we want them to man up with no instructions from any man for the last 60 years. So now we're trying to say, oh, men dropped the ball, or men are still dropping the ball. And even with, and let me say this, even with them having that, statistically, Black men have actually improved themselves. Poverty rate for Black men was 40%, decreased down to 20%. They cut it by half. They increased their wealth by being in the middle class and upward by 20%. Jail, they decreased their population in jail by 30%. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to fatherhood, right? 72% of Black fathers are married. 16% cohabitate. There's an 88% rate of Black fathers who are trying to create a 2-family house culture. Yet only 47% of Black mothers are trying to do that. And these single mothers are breeding at a higher rate, meaning, here's the thing, 80% of kids, it used to be 70 and 75, now it's 80% of Black children who are born in a single mother home. And if you look at all statistics of kids born in single mother homes, it's at least a 70 to 90% failure rate across the board, from illiteracy to jail to crime to money, you name it. So the failure is proven in the numbers, that the problem is children being born in a single parent household. Yes. And single Black mothers are 56%, where every other race is less than 20%. I'm gonna give me like 1 minute. My point that I'm making is that you always bring it out culture, right? But when you talk about culture, you're bringing up to 1800s. That has really no significance now because so many things have changed in process. Right now, we're in a technology age that got nothing to do with the 1800s. And all we have to look at is what's happening now. And what do we see in the technology age? Instead of Black women promoting technology and how they raise their kids, they're doing dances with their kids and they're doing all this stupid shit on social media, twerking with their daughters and telling me that, oh, the Black men supposed to control the culture, yet they don't listen or respect to Black men who try to. You know what I'm saying?
1 minute, Pete. 1 minute. Wrap it up. 1 minute.
So my
So
1
Von
minute.
can go.
So there's no structure. They're not trying to listen to structure. So if Black men like us come and tell Black women what's up, we're gonna get the most resistance, and we're gonna be told you can't tell me what the fuck to do. So where does that leave Black men who really want to change it, who really want to fix it? When these broads want to be on TikTok shaking their ass with your fucking kid, they'll put your fucking son in a goddamn dress and have him cooking in a fake cooking thing before they put him on a ball court and boxing.
Okay, Nick.
Hey, Von, I gotta bring us in right, bro.
So crazy. He's playing that because that's how he want to ride with his hat. You know,
Hey, look, I should put my brim on too, man.
He in the stankin' lankin'. You know, he in the stankin' lankin'.
I should put my brim on, man. Hey, look, even look, every culture is controlled by men. Even every community is controlled by men, even the Black community. The difference is, watch this. The difference is it's not controlled by Black men, right? The women are still being empowered. They're just empowered by your government to undermine you, right? So you've been disempowered. We've been disempowered, but they didn't just hand the reins. Just absolutely. What they did was they fed them what they wanted them to have, and they gave them a set of rules. Whether it's the rules that accommodate welfare housing and different things that they get rewards for. Okay, so then. It's not like it's just running on autopilot, even though it does feel like that, right? So one of the things that, as these different statistics that you list, it's not that I'm arguing with the statistics. Check this out. Back in 1997, my wife got diagnosed with cancer, right? And we started scrambling like, oh man, I thought that I was about to lose my wife because just 2 years before that, her brother died from cancer. And just 5 years before that, her mother died from cancer. So I'm like, damn, I'm facing losing my wife because it's hereditary, right? What I didn't realize at the time was that there are contributing factors that cause the cancer, right? Contributing factors. So what we did was we figured out what those contributing factors were. We began to isolate those factors. And 6 months later, they couldn't even find the cancer in my wife. So as you list these different statistics, what you're venting about are, when you list these statistics, what you're venting is about the symptoms of the problem, not the actual problem, right? So I'm not arguing against the symptoms. That would be like me arguing about the fact that my wife had cancer. What I'm talking about is what caused the problem. And so when I go back and make references to the 1800s, you can't say that what happened in the 1800s and early 1900s is insignificant when we can reference that same time period and look at how much wealth and land that white folks have amassed because of that same time period, which is the reason that they dominate right now in wealth and resources. Right. So it's very significant because it laid the foundation to where you are right now. I had one more point. The other point where you talk about Oak made this reference about the 50-50 situation and how we're not able to. Let me just say it this way. 40% of Black women out earn their men. Right. I think it's something like that. If it's not, it's something real close, which is the highest by far of any other demographic, any other ethnic group. And I'm saying that that's not an accident. That is part of the undermining of the community, which produced the symptoms that you're complaining about right now. So again, none of what we're experiencing is organic in the sense that everything was working well. And then all of a sudden the women just said, the hell with this. We want out. We want to undermine the men and just produce all this chaos and dysfunction. Come on, man. We got to be smarter than that. So there are some contributing factors that led to where we are. And that's what I'm always focusing on. Whereas you guys want to say, well, the symptoms of the disease is what I want to focus on. And I think that's the biggest difference in our ideology.
You know what? Let me. All right, so check this out.
I wish I could dance, man.
Don't say, huh?
No. Here's the thing. Pete does talk about the women a lot. I talk about the guys a lot. I always say the women are insignificant to the conversation. You're right. There are mitigating factors. I won't say it's the government. I'll say it's the liberal Jew. But there are mitigating factors. All right, we'll go there. Women get more opportunities. Black women get more opportunities than black men, but not as many opportunities as white women because of the way that the tax system is set up, which is the government. So if you have a black woman either on SNAP or college educated, especially if she's over 40 years old, the company is buying her for free. Her entire salary is rebated at the end of the year as part of a tax exemption. So it's a lot better to have free labor. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's free labor. Short version, it's free labor. So of course a company wants to kill as much overhead as they can. So of course they hire women when applicable. They'll hire white women before black women, but they'll hire women when applicable. If you take away that safety net for women to be able to be hired, which is part of Title IX and a couple other things that are not laws, by the way, they're just executive orders that have never been vacated, then you will see a lot more men hired because women really not really that good of employees.
Want to leave early.
And they always got a story. I've never seen a girl come home from work and not have a story about some bullshit that happened at work. I've never heard. Men rarely.
And they work by themselves.
And they work by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Typewriter ain't working.
And now they work at home by themselves.
But here's the thing. Because here's the thing. Because I understand when I say dudes don't need to worry about the 50-50, I say when I say get a illiterate chick, it's because women say that they can multitask, but that's not true. They just know because they can't do three things at once because they can't do one thing right. The thing is, what I say is you have to eliminate other gods. So if she has an employer, her employer is her God. If she has a pastor, the pastor is the representative of her God. You know what I'm saying? They will find any reason possible. If they already got kids, they'll be like, my son is my man. They'll find any reason to undermine the person. Section 8 too, right? Section 8. That social worker.
Still talking symptoms though.
No, I'm talking behavior. So I'm saying you eliminate other gods in order to be the man that can control that situation to such an extent, right? So because I mean, people, I don't care who you are, people live for shelter and food and shelter. So whoever provides them with either food or shelter or the means to get their own food and shelter, that's the way they're gonna go.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If men especially women, if men mobbed up and say, "Yo, we gonna starve these chicks out unless they under our covenant directly," these chicks wouldn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? Niggas feed the beast and be like, "Oh my God, the beast tried to bite me." Nigga, that's your fault. Quit feeding them, motherfucker. So I understand. Honestly, I understand that you can't get family until you starve motherfuckers out. Dudes think they got to get richer. No, your chick got to get broker. America's broke. You know what I'm saying? No, America's broke.
Mm-hmm.
If the reason they could raise prices is all artificial prices, there's no reason that you could be in the hood and ever see a $1,400 rent in the same block that people shooting on. The reason they do that is because they can take Section 8 housing. If you remove those type of situations, then you have $650, $700 rent, which is what the market would be anywhere else in America. That's why it's more expensive and more dangerous to live in liberal cities, because the more you feed the beast, the more the beast will bite you. You know what I'm saying? The irony is all these motherfuckers leave liberal cities to go to Republican states to act liberal. That's crazy to me. But I digress. But I actually agree with Vaughn on that. as far as it's somebody else's feet because black women follow gay men. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all can't
Black women
multitask.
follow gay men.
Yeah, black women follow gay men. Fashion is gay. Education is gay. These are the people that set up the system. So indirectly or directly, even if it's a gay hairdresser, they're following gay men. You know what I'm saying? Gay men are the ruler of black women. You know what I'm saying? And they act as such. That's why I feel like you're fucking with a train. But I digress. But yeah, I just showed did say that, Liz. Y'all say y'all can multitask. Y'all just looking at three things at one time. You know what I'm saying? That's just looking at three things at one time.
You know, I think that I do think that it's easier to cooperate. I think women do find it easier to cooperate with gay men. You know, because you know they really, in many regards, they want the same things. You know what I mean? They focused on a lot of the same things, but the type of cooperation that's required when it comes to being with a man, when a man and a woman who are supposed to be setting goals together, striving together, trying to build something together, that's work, and that's much harder than just trying to pick out who got the nicest outfit or gossiping about nonsense. Like those types of things, it's easier in that regard. So it's easier in that regard to cooperate with a gay man than it would be to build with a heterosexual, purpose-minded man. And so that just kind of lends to the point of making sure that your women are more employed than other women, that they receive different. What was that? Goldman Sachs just put out
$10 billion,
$500 billion. Yeah. And so, like, look, this again, this is the consistent undermining of what it is that men like us would like to build with our women, but they don't. Your women are the most independent of you, collectively, right?
Because they're the most dependent on other people.
Well,
again, Goldman Sachs is gay as shit. But here's the thing.
But again, they're the most dependent on other people because you've been removed. Well,
I agree with that.
That's all I'm saying. That's the whole thing.
What I'm saying about them being all I'm addressing is what you said about them having a more congenial relationship with gay men. That's because the only person that can out female logic a female is a dude that wants to be a female. He's overcompensating to be dumb. So of course she gonna be like, my man is such and such, and the gay man gonna be like, he probably gay. He want to suck my dick. That's why girls think every dude is gay because all they listen to is gay dudes.
Come on, man.
Which is crazy. They'll hang with gay dudes all day, and then as soon as a man says something, they call him gay as a derogatory. So they support gay pride. They'll have rainbows and talk about they support gay marriages and relationships and gay people. But then the moment a black man, straight heterosexual black man, tell them some information or tell them something that goes against their logic or what they want, he's gay. You know what I'm saying?
Girls don't know shit.
So when you look at it in reality, right? Like we look at Kevin Samuels, right? The first thing, he's gay, but he's telling you da. He's telling you some real shit. Gay men are gonna tell gay women, girl, go ahead and have those three babies by those three dudes. It don't matter. Don't let nobody tell you anything. And that's what they'll do. And they're like, okay, cool. The gay man agrees with the dysfunctional shit I'm doing. And then as soon as a straight heterosexual man say, hey, look, you just dropped your value. You know what I'm saying? I would have, bought this property if it was in Alpharetta, Georgia for $400,000, but now it's in Bankhead. So it's only worth like $20,000 at best. You know what I'm saying? And don't judge me. Oh, you must be gay because I don't want a woman. If I tell a woman I don't want her because she got 4 kids, 3 baby daddies, a felon, bad credit, and all her baby daddies are gangbangers, I'm gay because I don't want her.
Girls have slept with me, went home, saw a post I made about Donald Trump and said I'm gay in the comments. Don't worry about what girls say. Girls is dumb. Look, you muted, bro, I think. But look, bro, if men create culture, if men create value, then men have to do that for their brethren. It's not a color thing, it's a man thing. Every man, no matter what their ethnic group is, has the same struggle, right? But every other group is tribal. Black men aren't tribal unless they ain't a gang. Why do gangs work? Because it's all goddamn men. When girls want to join, what they do, Give them a female branch. You go over there. You know what I'm saying? We have our own meetings. We do our own thing. We fuck with y'all when we want sex because y'all feel obligated to fuck us because you are our sister group. But besides that, you really not even in our business. Pookies have that shit right like a motherfucker. As soon as black people want to be Greek, all of a sudden, goddamn it, AKAs is running shit more than alphas. Every time y'all put a woman in a position to be a brand ambassador, they fuck you over. Chicago has all black women in charge, and all they talk about is white supremacy. We got a black female mayor, a black female DA, a black female state's attorney, a black female school board president, a black female city council president. All these goddamn women, niggas getting killed everywhere, and they be like, it's white supremacy. The fuck?
And I think that's every city, every inner city USA, ain't it?
Pretty much. It's a
Because it's like that here in Savannah.
Yeah, it's a Keisha everywhere. We got.
So my question to you is then, with that being a consistent theme all throughout the United States, wherever we predominate, right? You think that's an accident? You think it's just random?
I think it's conditioning because you condition to follow women your entire life.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Is it an accident?
What I'm asking is, no, is it? Do you think that's a random occurrence that we, no matter what city you go to, or just about every city we go to, the leadership is, for us anyway, happen to be disproportionately black females, whereas every other culture is represented by their males. I'm asking you, do you think that that's a random occurrence? And they all seem to be following the same script. White supremacy.
I don't think it's random.
Right?
I don't think it's random.
So who could have
No, it's conditioning. Check this out. This is what I'm saying. I'm telling you, got a culture that's ran by that 16-year-old girl. No matter how old these toddlers get, they still toddle on adult bodies. So you're conditioned your entire life to see women as authority figures.
Yep.
So we're talking about positions that you have to be voted in by the populace, which means that men are being shamed into voting for women, or maybe they're just doing it because she's black because they believe the color shit. Women are going to vote for women regardless. Black women voted for Hillary Clinton above Barack Obama. They didn't say Barack had, when they voted for Barack, they said after Hillary lost, and all they said was he had a black wife. So they voted for a black woman, you know what I'm saying, vicariously through Barack. You know what I'm saying? They're very united in their toxicity because they don't like each other. They don't really help each other, but they will band together to say fuck men. Chicago had 3 great male candidates, and none of them even had a chance, and they put the 3 gay black women in a position to be mayor until we had to have a runoff election between Lori Lightfoot and that's the other Tony Periwinkle, who always wear pantsuits. She got the Hillary Clinton closet. So by any stretch of means of the imagination, if blacks have an opportunity to do something, and it's really a self-hate thing. It's your mama's a terrorist, but you hate your daddy. Your daddy ain't even there. He ain't do shit too. But I hate my dad, but I love my mom. You know what I'm saying? It's a conditioned thing. Nobody has ever fought anybody over your daddy joke, but you can do a your mama joke anywhere in America and kids want to fight. So they already are conditioned from childhood to do so. Somebody shared a video with me earlier today. I don't know if you guys saw it, about a black girl who went to the store and started beating up a white guy. And there was a bunch of black dudes behind her, like, you better not hit her back. That's black America. Black girls just cause terror everywhere they go, fuck up everything they touch, and then the entire community say you better not do nothing to it. It got to be white supremacy fault. It got to be a man fault. It's the absentee man fault. It's got them at the government fault. It's everybody but this funky bitch who actually made the decision. It's everybody else's fault, and that's because as a culture, nobody holds their women accountable. Shout out to white men; they kill their wives.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Like and then here's what would have happened, right? If the cops would have pulled up and threw her ass on the floor, the first thing we'd be saying is they're racist. Even though the white guy walked away, she had no reason to hit him. You know what I'm saying? And she antagonized the whole situation as he kept trying to stop her. She just kept going. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what they tell. Oh, don't hit her. You know what I'm saying? Which I think he should have. He should have opened her skull, but you know. But then the cops would have came and threw her on the floor mad hard and broke her nose. You know what I'm saying?
She should have went to jail.
No, she should have got stomped the fuck out. and then probably went to jail. I
Let me
really
ask you
just
this.
I don't think the jail part was necessary. I think you just if he would have
No, Joe was say that's to tell you be capital punishment, not corporal punishment.
well.
That's assault. That's
That's
assault.
assault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, you already know it's first offense and all that shit that she's gonna spend a few days, and that ain't.
I don't know that it was her first offense, but I know that.
and you can tell she's toxic, so that ain't gonna. You know, no, you got to stomp her in her face.
I'm saying I don't know about all that, but I'm saying
I
I know
know about that. The way she was hitting her, man, the bitch thought, man, listen, throwing her fucking into a fucking car.
assault means you typically get arrested and you go to jail, and then they figure out how many priors you got. I mean, I don't want to start projecting my ideas into the story because all we know is we saw her hit him. I don't know what
I
motivated
agree.
her to
She
hit
should
him.
have been arrested for assault. I agree with
She
you
should
on
have
that.
been arrested. But Pete want to kill all women,
Yeah,
especially
No,
black.
I want to kill. I'm just saying that kind of.
Pete always want to be the chick. Pete, you ain't got to be that girl, man.
No, look, hey, I look. The Arab, if it was India or Arabs
Yeah,
or
I
Chinese,
told
they
you about
would have hit her with a rattan stick.
Hey Pete, I told you about them
I beat
trans-Olympics.
you.
I told you about them trans-Olympics. Your competition ain't women. Your competition is men.
No,
I
it's
told
not.
you about them trans-Olympics.
No,
It's not.
I
Okay.
told you.
Well,
I
there you go.
posted it. The ops is technology and feminism. It ain't men, because you know what I'm saying.
But
Said
I
you
always
That's
mean,
man.
'cause
Like,
men
look,
are-
think about
men
it.
are
I'm
tribal,
on a panel with 4 men that, irregardless whether we disagree or not, if I say, "Yo, let's create this shit," and it was a good idea, all 4 of us would jump on. But
And it's gonna be
irregardless
measured
of
by
our
what?
belief, huh?
What is it going to be measured against? What our women are doing, or is it going to be measured by what other men are doing?
No, it just be measured on what we want to do. Like, why do we always even got to measure the court? Like, I don't care what
'Cause it's
somebody
life.
else does.
That's the game. That's the game.
No, that is not that. Look, if you do what you going to fucking do for you, you know what I'm saying? The Amish do not try to compete with anybody else. The Mormons don't try to compete. They do their own fucking thing. We think it's a competition because
But
we
still-
think like black
but you're
women.
still-
No, black women think
You're still
everything's a
measured-
competition.
You're still
Measured
measured
by
by
who?
your.
I don't care. Do anybody measure the Amish? And do the
Nobody
Amish
cares when they're losing. You don't want to care when you're losing, but the
Yeah,
reality is
but losing,
when
put
you-
it like
when you're
this.
being-
Losing
you-
is if I'm going square toe to toe with somebody and a motherfucking bashing my face in. I'm
So you
losing
can-
because I'm hurting.
so you don't mind getting in the boxing ring with a woman.
Do I mind? I mean,
You don't. You probably
I
don't.
know
Man. That's the wrong question for you.
right. Hey, here's the thing. I'm not even for like I don't want to put hands on a woman, but
You'd
I'm
be
just
like,
saying
lace him up.
that level of shit happening. Like, yo, that shit is total disrespect. Like, I'm the last to want to hit a woman. I'm the last.
It don't sound like it.
But then that required beating. Like, okay, she hit him, she got hers, walked the fuck away. He let her get hers. You know what I'm saying? Before I put my hands on a woman, I'll probably let her get 1 or 2 and be like, all right, whatever, you got that. She didn't want that. Now what she wanted was she wanted blood like it was real, like, okay.
Get over here!
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. I'm raiding her ass or whatever the motherfucker what's my Scorpio her ass.
Hey, look
I'm
at
saying, like, when she hit him, all right, you got it, shorty. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you get yours and go ahead. You got it. You rocked it. But now you want to keep going for blood, like you gonna beat me till I die. Now I'm in a defense mode. So now I'm gonna just throw you head fucking first or face first into something hard and open your shit up. So you remember that shit.
That's the good
That's all
part.
he got. And he should have. I wouldn't even have to hit. I'll just throw her ass into some shit. But you just make sure it's the corner of some hard and sharp and metal, and then let her, fucking face move to, scatter to oblivion. But that's it. But here's the thing, man. I think we always keep thinking this is why we need fucking. We feel like we gotta always compete with somebody. The Amish don't compete. The Mormons don't compete. They're what 32 something 30. What you say? 3,200 tribe. They don't try to compete. They just want what's theirs. You know what I'm saying? They just want to live. The Amish lives the lifestyle they want to live. That's all they care about. The Mormons live the lifestyle that they want to live.
Yeah.
I don't need to compete. You know what I'm saying? For what? If
what
I
man
got
don't
what I
want
want
to compete?
So let me ask you
What
this.
man?
Who do you compete? Who are you compete? You already got your wife. You already got your kids. You already got your grandkids. You make good money. You got your business. Who the fuck you compete for? You own, hold on. You own a house. You have your own shit. Who are you competing with, Vaughn?
Let me answer the question. As far as an individual competition, I'm competing to be better than I was previously, right? Whether it's yesterday or last year, or whatever. What I'm talking about, though, I'm not saying that I go out here every day to compete with white people or Mexicans or whatever. That's not my point. What I'm saying is, when all the dust settles, that's how you are measured. That's how you are categorized. You are categorized by how you are doing with respect to your peers. And your peers are not black women. Your peers are other groups of men. You're stuck on competing with women. You want to open their face up. You want to stomp them out. You want to beat their ass.
Come on, bro. I don't want to be. Hold on. Let me clear it up. I don't want to beat their ass. I don't want to stomp them out.
You sound like you getting a little excited when you're talking.
That when I look at that video, that made me want to do some shit because I looked at if I was him and that particular woman do that, I'm come on, man. I'm certified lover boy, man. I'm a light skinned nigga. We don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So I'm telling you, that is not my go-to. What I'm saying is, in that situation, the way she went for blood, that is, I would determine that as a threat, and then that's how I would proceed it because it was about that incident. But for regular shit, I don't really gotta do. I'll just walk away and ignore bitches, like, and that hurts them more than anything because lack of attention fucks their head up more than anything. You know what I'm saying?
Let me finish this point. Mitchell Snyder just made a good point. He says that the Amish are top 5 in modern times. They're not measuring women in the Amish. The women are the support. They're the helpmeets. The men are the ones that's putting in that work. And I'm telling you, as you look at the different groups that are being successful, you're measuring the work of the men, the culture that they're establishing, the work that they're putting forth. He says, I compete in alchemy. Yeah, man, I do. But again, I'm not competing with anybody outside of me. I'm doing me. And I'm just trying to show up better and better, right? But the point is still, though, that I'm not being measured against another woman, man. People are measuring me or measuring us against what other men are doing. That's it. That's the game, man. And for men, for our collective of men, like there was a post on Facebook the other day talking about we don't want to go to war because too many of our men are doing TikTok videos and we dancing, and our men engage in more unmasculine behavior. And I know all men are doing it, but I'm talking about disproportionate. I'm talking about proportion, right?
What age range?
Our men are engaging in more unmasculine and unproductive.
What age range?
I'm
on the majority. No. I'm saying you gotta be specific. I don't see 50-year-old men doing those dances.
I'm saying as
40-year-old men. I see 20 and 30-year-old.
Let me say it this way: competition ready males, right? So that means from 18 on up. And you put it in whatever category, you break it down, whatever you want. But I'm talking about competition ready males, ready for life. Our males who are ready for life or supposed to be ready for life, ready to go out here and register on the scales that we're being ranked against other men, right? I talked about the 9 areas of people activity, and I can go over those again if you want me to.
I'm asking, but who raised those 18-year-olds? Who raised them?
Again, the culture produced them.
But who's the culture? What culture produced them?
Black culture.
Huh?
Right. And black culture, and I go this
black
far,
culture.
Right?
What specifically within black culture?
Right. Black culture is the product of what those who kicked your ass think about you. That's what black culture.
But no, you're saying what caused black culture. What is black culture in itself? If you have to describe it, other than saying it was derived from this, what is black culture? What does it entail? You know what I'm saying? Like I could tell you the Amish and the Mormon, their culture is based on the Bible, and it's based on the word of the Bible word, what they consider word of God. Huh? So what is the black culture derived of? Huh?
A myriad of things, man. And the reason that I say
that but you're saying like be specific.
If you pause for a minute, I can answer the question.
Okay.
What I'm saying is we are so disorganized that our culture is comprised of a bunch of different ideas. And oftentimes a bunch of conflicting and competing ideas that disallow us from producing the type of outcomes that allow us to be in the top 5 like the Amish. Or that allowed the Mexicans, even though they're new to this culture, they're much newer to America, but that it allowed them to slide right on past us and keep us in perpetual last place in so many categories that we really should be leading in.
Okay,
can you specify what the
culture? No. There's no specification for it. Here's the thing. Black is not a no.
That's why what it is. No.
Because here's the thing. Black is not a monolith, right? So
Right.
being Amish is a subgenre of a different culture. Being Mormon is a subgenre of a different culture. If you want to be black and you say you're a b-boy or you're a house head, that's a subgenre of an underlying culture. You can be what you want to be. The question is, why isn't there a, to a lack of a better description, a Jew version of colors, right? Like, okay, this is the group of guys that we're gonna do for politics or for leadership, because this is what they're groomed to do. Like, that's what we came for. What blacks do, because black is for women, gays, and felons, that's what they rely on. There is no rebranded group that says, you know what, we're gonna listen to them. Everybody has one. Everybody has one. And everybody gets to be individual. When it's all about marketing. Most Mexicans are broke. But but even when they broke, they have stuff because they have, the means of, this is what we want to do.
Yep.
Most of everybody, except the Asians, most of everybody is broke. But everybody else promotes their best and brightest. Only blacks promote their most
Mm-hmm.
dysfunctional because they're the minstrel class.
But,
That's all I'm saying.
I think it's who runs it, who's been running for the last 60 years.
The
Like
government runs it.
But
Your
it's not
government
even-
runs it.
but
No,
it's
it
not-
doesn't. The government
no.
finances it.
The government does
People
finance.
run it, right? The government, if it meant, no, finance don't mean you run it. It's like I cut a check to your
Are
business.
you serious?
You run it. No,
Why
yes.
does lobbyists finance politicians? Because they're not running them?
That's not running them. They finance them. What they do with the money is on them. If they want the
I don't
money
know
to
that part.
continue, they
I
do
don't know
that.
about that part. But here's the
Come on,
thing.
bro. Stop that, Pete.
What
You're
I'm
being
saying is, but here, okay. So
You're
first
being
of all,
disingenuous.
now let me talk about, you bring up Section 8, right?
If
And
somebody
this is something-
paying you, if
hold on.
somebody
No.
paying you, you're doing their bidding.
Oh
That's
my
the-
God,
they're
who
paying.
the hell cares?
When they pay the politician, they pay them for specific duties to do. They
Sure.
don't pay women to do anything specific. They just pay them. And they don't even pay the woman. They just provide. They don't get a check for being a black woman. All they get is a subsidy. You know what I'm saying? And they pay their rent. That's it. That's what Section 8 is. They don't give them a check. They say, look, you ran 1,000, we'll pay $950. They still got to come on $50.
Are you listening to yourself?
Dude,
If you
that's
pay
not payment.
if you pay my mortgage, Pete, if you come over here and you say every month, bro, I got your mortgage, you think I'm gonna be beholden to you in some kind of way on some level, or I just get to walk that off and I
You
don't
get
owe
to
you?
what? Because unless I tell you, Vaughn, if I pay your mortgage, you're gonna have to go cut my lawn. If I just give you reprieve, just like when COVID happened,
Not even
and people
sound
were,
real.
no, I'm telling you, COVID happened. People got their mortgage paid. People got their rent paid. There was nothing asked of them to do those things.
It's
There's
a
a
crisis,
difference.
man.
Paying a politician for a service is one thing. Giving somebody something is another. These women are not paid to do anything. They just do it because they want to do it because they have that. They don't have to treat a black man with respect or feel they need to rely on black men because they got the government paying their rent. But the government says, yo, bitch, act toxic. They don't pay them to do that. They don't say, yo, take his ass to child support. They don't do that shit. They say,
Well, they
look,
do say that. But
well, yeah, if you do, but I mean, nah, they do. If they
Come
do,
on, man.
no, but listen, they could put down that they don't know the father of their child, and then they could.
Come on, man.
It's not the culture, Pete. That's not the culture.
The culture. Wait, first you say it's the culture. Now you say it's not the culture.
No, I said what you just said as an idea to not put the father's name down. I'm saying that's not the culture. The culture is to do exactly what you're complaining about.
The reason
That's
why
the
they don't all put the name down because most of them don't know the last names of their baby fathers. No, definitely don't know the Social Security.
I don't
Now,
know.
the only thing they'll know is the only thing they'll
shout out
have
to
is
him for
say-
keeping his name out of mouth. Here's the thing, man.
now the only thing they may know is his inmate number, and that's about it.
If
Because they're
well,
like,
now they know their MySpace name. But here's
Right.
Terrible, man. Terrible.
nah, here's the thing, man.
well, could I,
The person who
I have
pays
one-
you is your
Go ahead.
master, though. That's all I'm gonna say. The person
Thank
that
you.
pay- if I want to
Thank
get a
you.
grant, they give me a grant specifically for what I asked for a grant for, and I got to
That's
use
all
that
I'm
money
saying.
for that. If I use it for something else and it's a misappropriation of funds, and they can try to get the bread back. So he who pays you is your boss, but these six is still tough. So
Right. They don't have to be. Well, here's the thing: they have the baby and they complain about the dad, but they need the baby to get Section 8. You know what I'm saying? Section 8 don't come. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Section 8 don't come because they just a black woman. They have to have the baby first. So they create the problem to run to the solution. Right?
Section 8 being a small microcosm, right? Because a lot of women have kids with no baby daddies and they on Section 8, even if they do get some type of rental assistance. The problem is they don't have no baby daddies because these bitches is nuts. Look, I don't mind them being nuts though, right? I don't care, they crazy. Because the dumber they are, the quicker they fuck. My point is that they're not to be part of decision-making processes, but people keep putting them in decision-making positions. That's my point. If you guys keep talking about, man, what blacks need to do, black being a color or a culture, depending on which, then that shit sailed shit in 2008. It's a wrap on that. It's a fucking wrap. At this point, man, people got to do guerrilla shit. Like, we got a patch over here, a little tribe over here, a little tribe over there, and you have to create your own economy based on the logo and what you choose. But blacks are not a monolith. You couldn't help all white people not rich. You can't help all of any group because you have to have have-nots to have haves. You know what I'm saying? I saw somebody. I think it was hold on, man. Who was it? It was Sincere. Sincere said something about in Mexico and Texas, the Mexicans think they white. The Mexicans are white.
That's
legally.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they have
yes.
they have that legal denomination, right? When you go and apply for a job, it says on the application, are you Mexican as white or just
Hispanic, right?
You know what I'm saying? So
white, Hispanic, white, non-Hispanic.
So everybody has some type of legal code that benefits them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has and everybody fought for that. Italians fought hard not to be called minority because they didn't want to be treated like the Negroes. Just like Mexicans fought hard.
Make sure you click that subscribe button and that notification bell.
Out to the nigga with the bow tie. And so it all comes down to what will your specific group fight for. If you're fighting with these chicks, you're gonna be fighting for dysfunction. You're gonna be doing protest parades forever. You're gonna be having one woman trying to have you protect her from her neighbor's son, but neither one of them got a daddy and neither one of them want a man. That's what you're gonna have. But dysfunctional bitches trying to set men up for failure so they don't have to take the blame for being dysfunctional. Men as a group, as a monolith, and all I'm gonna say is this is men have to handle it. And you have to be bold and brave enough to be like, yo, shorty, just shut up. You can't even come in the meeting, nigga. Just sit in the car. I'll be on the hour. Go to Chipotle or something. That's how you have to do it.
And I can even rock with a portion of that, minus the disrespectful aspect of it, because I think I look for more of a cooperative effort than a controlling effort. But we can disagree on that. But look at this: when we look at Black Lives Matter, right? This is so that we don't have to go so far back. Black Lives Matter just started within the past decade, I think.
Yeah,
anyway,
something like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to a hashtag that became an organization. All right.
The grassroots part of it. That was men on the ground. That was men, boots on the ground, right? That was a grassroots effort started by men, and I'm sure some women helped support the effort, whatever. But those were men doing that. Why? How did it flip and become a women and gays organization? Organically? What organic was it?
Once again, shout out to a hashtag that became an organization. When Black Lives Matter was the hashtag, it was men doing things, and they put the hashtag down to see what they were doing.
So what happened to those men?
Shit, half of them got killed. But
who?
Powers that be.
That's all I'm saying.
Because it started down in Ferguson, if I believe correctly.
Yeah, it was Ferguson. The Ferguson thing, and they go Black Lives Matter. And then motherfuckers say we're gonna take that.
What I'm saying, don't tell me then that we are not still being undermined by so-called powers that be.
Right, but when they undermine us, who do they put in place?
See, again,
I mean, like you don't see them, like okay.
I know you need to hang this on. You need to hang this on.
Come on, man.
I know you have a need to hang this on Black women, but I'm telling you right now, there is no group of people in this country that I'm talking about on this level that we're on, even with as enlightened as I think the four of us are, we cannot compete with the think tanks that the government is providing. right? The think tanks that the government is putting together and strategizing with. So
I don't even think that's true. But
let me finish this, right? Because we don't spend enough time together to outthink these people. I just watched this movie, Wag the Dog, right? And the second reference I made to the movie because I just watched this movie, right? But they put so much time and they have so much of a collective effort that's harmonizing with the same desired outcome, which is undermining people that they're targeting, right? So if you're going to tell me that the government is intentionally undermining a certain group of people, go back to Black Wall Street, fast forward to the feminist movement, that was a CIA op, right? Fast forward all the way to we just talked about Black Lives Matter. There is a consistent theme of the powers that be involving themselves in undermining a specific group of people that look like me and you. But you want to tell me,
First of all,
you won't outthink
they're not undermining. You think they're undermining race? They're undermining heterosexual men because heterosexual men is a threat to anything, right? So
just any heterosexual men.
Hold on.
Heterosexual
Every heterosexual man group that they take out, who do they put as the leader? The woman. Generally, those that subscribe to LGBTQ, which are men haters. So you took a hashtag that were created by men that were protesting what was happening in Ferguson. Then you get rid of them, and then you come in. You as a Marxist put 4 or 5 women. I think it was one black guy, but they were all part of the LGBT community.
The black guy was transgender.
Right. The black one of them was trying to. Right. So that's what you do. So my thing is, if you're saying that is the pattern, which, okay, I get it, but if they're undermining, why are they putting the same type of leaders?
They're not undermining. They're not undermining. Here's what they're doing. I'm going to tell you exactly what they're doing. They get pastors, which is them they gay, and they get gay black women, and then they say, this is the face of black. Well, I can tell y'all black is just gay felons. But the whole thing is because the heterosexual men actually listen to these toddlers, that they put themselves into some shit that ain't they fucking business. That's why I don't have a problem with the man individually consulting his significant other. I have no problem with that.
Thank you, sir.
I have a problem with men, including women, period. What you do at home, like, man, babe, I went to this meeting. This is what happened. Do you have any ideas that I could take to the next meeting? I have no problem with that. She can't come in that goddamn door because the battle wasn't hers. You know what I'm saying? They keep putting people who don't have the best interest of anybody but themselves. You put narcissists in, and they always call somebody else a narcissist.
Right. Whatever they call somebody else, really does.
And control of an entire color and call it a culture. The issue is that blacks, because they're led by the influence of a 16-year-old girl, what do 16-year-old girls want? They want the popular kid in school, the quarterback, the star basketball player, the dope boy, the whoever's voted most popular because he's funny. That's what girls want. That's what girls like, and that's what colors do. So it's easy to kill the mission by killing the man. So you can kill an MLK, you can kill a Malcolm, you can kill whoever you want to kill and get them out the way real quick, and then you'll stop the mission and you can put somebody else in, because blacks don't believe in a system, because a system takes work. They talk about the system. Everybody has a system. Everybody. You don't talk about the Chinese system, the Arab system, no other system. You just talk about how somebody else's system isn't playing fair for you. It's not supposed to. It's a system for them. When men create a system and enforce that system, then you can't kill a leader, because you have to destroy the entire system, which is not what this system is built to do. This system is built to fund other systems. That's what it's for. It's not built to do protest parades for 45 blocks with goddamn crayon, with signs written in crayon talking about you need to give us our entitlements. It's built to say, yo, this is what we're on. This is our mission statement. This is how we're gonna go about it. This is what we have, because you can't get shit until you got shit. You know what I'm saying? This is who's fucking with us. Man, basically, just leave us alone. Give us the bread. We'll take care of this shit. I have more in common with the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan than I do with my sister, because we want the same thing. You don't want me to live in your neighborhood? I'm straight on that. You don't want me to fuck your daughter? I don't like them dog-smelling girls anyway. You know what I'm saying? Let's work together and let me come back because you'll hire me, you'll fund me, you know what I'm saying?
Now-
You'll teach me. So you can hate me as long as you employ me, and I'll be over there. You know what I'm saying?
And to that point, Fred Hampton, right before he died, you see he was working with a lot of radical, what they would call right-wing extremist whites, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something to be said about a black man's effort to try to organize something like that, and so he had to go. They killed him, right? Up to that point, just like with Martin Luther King, he was okay as long as he was talking about black people's problems. Once he started talking about poor people's problems, got to go. Malcolm X, he was all right as long as he was calling white people devils, talking strictly about the black man's problem. Once he started broadening his perspective, he had to go, right? So again, just going back to this idea that when our men began to move in that type of productive way, we're going to meet some opposition that other groups of men aren't necessarily meeting. And so when you talked about a society mandating that it has haves and have-nots, or you didn't say it that way, you just said anytime you have haves, you're gonna have some have-nots, right? That's what you said. And so what this society has mandated is that we are the designated have-nots, and every group that is not black agrees with that mandate. And so they do what they can to ensure that type of thing. And so all of your mistreatment, all of your marginalization, all of your being ostracized and left to the back seat, relegated to the back of the bus, if you want to call it that, all of that is damn near public policy. And so this leaves us in a place, this is kind of how you end up with women leading your efforts and women being in a position where black women they struggle more to rely on black men than other groups of women rely on their men, because those other groups of men aren't being undermined in the way that our men are being undermined. So I don't say this. So when Pete makes these references, oh, you always blaming the black man. That's not at all what my message is. You're not hearing me right. What I'm saying is, if there's going to be any type of resurgence, it's going to be our response. It is our responsibility.
How though?
Hold on. The problem is our efforts are consistently being undermined by, as Oak referred to, the powers that be. Here's one last example, and I'll land my plane here. You just made a reference to Barack Obama being that black women supported Barack Obama instead of, they supported Hillary Clinton instead of Barack Obama. That is, and they thought he was a black man, but that's a different conversation. But the point is this, right? The point is this: they had more faith in the white woman than they did in their own men, and systemically and consistently, black women have been less able to rely on their men than other groups of women have been able to rely on their own men. Not because we're incapable, but because we meet consistent opposition that we have yet to figure out how to overcome. And conversely, when you let me land right here.
Go ahead.
Conversely, even with Donald Trump sounding as, people thought he was crazy, people thought he was a buffoon. When he was running against Hillary, man, the masses of the people in this country seemed to think that he was crazy, that he was a fool, right? But even with as lewd as he was, talking about grabbing women the way that he did, and just as disrespectful as they thought he was, white women still posseed up and said, we're going to choose him over Hillary. And that's indicative of the faith that their women have in their men that our women are lacking.
Okay, wait. Before you do, no, Pete, because you're going to be like 14 minutes.
No.
Let me just say
30 seconds.
Let me say this real quick. It's not the fact that black women don't have faith in their men, because everything they get from their men, and they become the brand ambassador. It's the fact that they can't work with the same person they fucking. That's their problem. But on the flip side, they can help you or they can fuck you. They can't do both. They talk about multitask. They can't even suck a dick and still do taxes. But anyway, the thing with the Hillary thing was branding. Everybody knew what the Clinton name was, and her husband was the quote unquote first black president. What black people didn't understand, because they don't know policy, is everybody hated Hillary Clinton. That's why Trump won. It was the same way Biden won, because it was anti-Trump. Trump won because everybody was anti-Hillary. White women don't like Hillary. Hillary was telling white women to do shit that only black women could honor. Like, yo, get rid of your husband. Let's all work. They're like, what the fuck? Hell no.
No. I want to be a
That's why Trump won.
Well, I'll go into the trouble.
That's not what Biden.
I'm gonna tell you
That
exactly.
ain't what Biden wants, but
I'm gonna tell you exactly that this goes against what you're saying. It's not that there's opposition, because when Ice Cube presented the contract for Black America, he said it for all. He said it's gonna help everybody. Black women wanted to know specifically what was it for them, and he was like, all of us.
Isn't that what I just said?
Hold on, let me let the
Isn't
music.
that what I just said?
No, but that proves that they don't want to cooperate with men. They want to do their own thing. It doesn't mean that they meet opposition.
they mean they
You know what I'm
are.
saying?
They mean they are the
They-
opposition.
That's right. They right. They are our ops. They are against us. They want their own thing. They say, what about black women? When Barack Obama tried to do the school for the boys and all that shit, what did they say? What about the girls? So they don't want the men to be built up. They are the most objective when anytime you talk about anything to build black men up, because if the issue is black men reach so many obstacles, then they should do everything to build black men to support it, to know that, hey, he's going to come across something. But what do? They don't get behind black men. They move to the side, wait for him to get pushed so they could jump in front.
And they did that
But
for
that
Obama.
has-
They did
right.
that to Obama. When Obama came with the Big Brother program and said he had $20 million for every liberal city to help boys, first thing black women said, what about girls?
What
When
about
people
girls?
came with a housing agency to help black men who were down and distraught so they can get the same benefits that women get on Section 8, you know what I'm saying, with a voucher program, not the same in Israel, but they said, what about the women? Motherfuckers like, you already get Section 8 HUD, motherfucking social service. There is no time in which these self-centered ass people will be like, you know what? They don't even give a fuck about their sons. He a baby at 11 years old, gets 12th birthday, gets a peach fuzz. All of a sudden, he one of them niggas. There is no time in which there's an open opposition to everything that would empower and enriching. Like, and these are only chicks that I've ever seen that are pregnant looking for a stepdaddy already, just because they don't want to have to listen to a man who has direct ties to the kid. And they can tell another man, give him this money, but you can't discipline them. They're terrorists. They're just horrible human beings. Nobody wants to admit that. They're just horrible human beings. And
Yeah,
but-
terrible.
no, it is what it is. I'm not even mad about it. Here's the thing. If somebody told me that Crips or Bloods were horrible human beings, I would say, you know what? They sell drugs, they vandalize, they kill people, they're horrible to communities. I agree. If somebody told me that the Klan were horrible human beings, I'd say, man, they rape and pillage communities, they burn businesses, they kill business owners. I agree. But if I say, man, check this out, these chicks work in human resources, won't hire heterosexual men, all they listen to is gay men, they take all the money that's supposed to go for men's issues and spend it on gay shit, man, they won't help you and fuck you at the same time. They don't want to be wives in their best years. Goddamn it, they want to wait till they 50 years old, lost their looks and lost their ovaries and all something like, yo, somebody gonna take care of my old ass. And I was like, yo, they horrible human beings. Motherfucker like, oh man, you tripping. I'm not tripping. Because if you took away gender and just looked at actions, you would be like, yo, these is horrible motherfuckers.
Yep. Exactly. Society hates masculinity, and black men get the most advanced attacks. In fact,
All I'm
exactly,
saying.
Mitch.
That's what I've been
Right.
saying.
But it doesn't. But here's the thing. That's not. But you're making it seem like that. What you're giving black women excuse for not supporting their
No,
black
I'm not.
men.
No, I'm
You
not.
are. You're just saying the reason why they don't trust is opposition. If they don't trust, then how can they cooperate? They are
Okay.
not trying to cooperate. And here's the thing: how are they not? And I think that's bull, because at the end of the day, the same
That's
black men
bull.
that say they don't have faith in is the same black men that they want to go take them out and pay for their dinner and pay for their bills and buy them Birkin bags. You know what I'm saying? So they still think black men are good enough to do something.
No, they
Right.
don't. They just lazy bitches. Look, at the end of the day,
I want to respond to that.
okay, I'm gonna let you respond. I just want to say this real quick.
All right.
There was an old on Married with Children. There was this old joke when Bud came to Al and said, "I don't understand women." He said, "Son, don't waste your time because women understand women and they can't stand each other." Now, the whole thing is every other ethnic group of women who can't stand each other, they'll still support women, shit, but they really don't trust each other to the point that all of a sudden they 14 deep when they went to Cozumel, then they come back and none of them get along no more. Those same women who don't get along with each other, also one particular group also don't get along with their men. So that means you don't like nobody. You just a miserable motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else relies on their men. Everybody else be like, I got all male friends, or I got a husband, I got a boyfriend. These are the only motherfuckers that's like, yo, it's just me, B. You know what I'm saying? And that's indicative of not being able to coexist and be a semblance of a teammate. And for the people who got that, God bless them. God bless them. I have nothing negative to say about a person that found a girl who could be on the volleyball team and coexist with 5 other people. Motherfuckers
Look, when we talk about and I know that Black can co-sign this. You've been with your woman for almost 20 years, right, Black?
Right, 24, 25.
Okay, so anytime I look at a man who has a wife who's still happy to be with that man, right, and she's functioning in the capacity that makes him happy that she's his wife, right? Being a wife is not an easy job, right? So that means that's not something that she's just gonna do without some sort of inspiration, some sort of motivation to continue being that wife. Look, a woman's average life expectancy actually decreases when she's married. A man's life expectancy increases when he's married. So that means there is something that a woman pours into the marriage. So that means that, come on now, let me rock. You can research the statistics. I know y'all love the numbers, but so here's what I'm saying. In order for a woman to remain on the job as your wife, particularly in a way that pleases you as a man, there's something that's going to have to be poured into her. She's going to have to be inspired by you in some way to remain on the job, right? So when you talk about the type of dysfunction that we're experiencing in our relationships, and nobody's training us on what that means, how to relate to our wives, like much of our training is coming from the entertainment industry. When it talks about how we're relating to our women, whether it's rap, whether it's R&B, whether it's the movies, much of what inspires us to connect to our women is not coming from a cultural based training rooted in what's actually good and going to produce the type of outcomes that we're looking for. It's rooted in entertainment. It's coming from entertainment.
That's a cop,
right?
No, it's not a cop out. It's just reverse. What you see about men and fathers and husbands comes from TV. Everybody got a mother and a sister and a cousin. Normally, people, when you talk to men say, yo, I learned how to be a man by watching the Cosby Show because my dad wasn't there. Women are always there. You learn about how to treat girls from your mom and your aunts talking about carry a book bag and shit. They just give you bad advice because girls should never give fucking advice. But I digress. Please continue.
But here's the thing, though. Even when you're learning from a woman, if 80% of the women aren't in a cooperative relationship or a cooperative effort with men, then you're still learning from a dysfunctional source, right? Because it's not, right? So again, when what do you say? Data and numbers are easily manipulated. So now we don't rely on stats.
No, we can rely on stats. I'm just going off the fact you said that being a wife is a job, which I agree with, by the way.
It is.
But I agree with that, and I agree that every job has a work culture. Every team has a work culture. You know what I'm saying? You go in and tell you it's the whatever way, the Home Depot way, the Xerox way, the Nike way, whatever the case may be. I believe that. I'm with you. I believe you point to the culture of the corporation, the entity that you create. So I'm with you. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's kind of what I was driving towards. When you look at, and this is the point that I was making about Black women struggling to believe in and support Black men. I'm not saying it's because we're organically deficient. I'm saying it's because of that continuous undermining, like Mitchell Snyder just pointed out. Society hates masculinity, and Black men get the most advanced attacks. What we build is consistently attacked, and we have not yet mastered a way to overcome that. But the point is, we shouldn't have to, because no other group is dealing with those same level of attacks that we are, and that's because it's public policy.
But every group has, though.
Not to the extent of.
But every group has. Every group who has come.
But it's disingenuous. It's disingenuous if you're gonna put them all on the same playing field.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that.
Okay. So if you grant me that, then
I'll grant you that.
So
No,
then, so then that means we're working with a monster that no other group is quite working with in the same capacity. And if that's the case, and we still have not yet overcome that, that means there's something that's going on that's putting extra pressure on us, which I determined that
I'm cool with the pressure though. Be a winner. Everybody ain't supposed to win. This is,
but we haven't
here's
done
what I'm
that yet.
But that shouldn't make our women
We've done that on individual levels.
No,
We've done that
here's
on
what I'm going with.
individual isolated levels,
I
but we
agree-
haven't
I
done
agree with
that.
that.
then it pushes women as spoils of war, because now in order to get our cooperation from women,
It's
we
not
have to
spoils
win
of
the war. No,
man.
that's what it is. It's spoils of war, because here's what
Ain't
you
no
say.
war.
Well,
There's a war. There's always a war.
war.
There's a culture war. There's a something war. But here's the
I'm
thing:
saying the war is on you. We don't even know who the enemy is.
It don't matter who the way. Everybody opts until they not. Everybody in. My
we
point
shadow
is,
boxing, bro. We don't even know who
I
to
ain't
fight.
shadow box. We ain't shadow boxing. Look, this is what I'm saying.
We getting
If
stomped out, bro, and we don't even know who's stomping us.
Shit, your girlfriends. Look,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, I'm not even on the peak.
More from you than anybody.
I'm not
other
even
than
on the
that.
peak level of shit.
Y'all wild, man.
No.
Y'all
I'm
wild as
not even going as deep as Pete goes with it. But like, you know what I'm saying, they all need to be burned at the stake. What I am saying.
Nah, why I gotta come off as that guy, man? I just
You that guy, bro.
But
I'm not taking it to the extreme. What I'm saying is this: if you can't do my taxes and suck a dick, you got to pick and choose. Then that means there is no family culture. There's nothing because you steady want me to pour into you, but you're not keeping it. I don't even need you to pour back. I just need you to hold it in the vase I poured it in, and you got a hole in your vase. I tell people all the time. I say, man, name a heterosexual black girl who ever played on a team. You know how rare it is to find somebody that did some organized anything with black women who know how to cooperate. Remember when we was in school, they be like, do you play well with others and by yourself? They got F's all on play well with others. If you don't have the fundamentals on how to be a good teammate, on how to catch the ball that I pass you, or throw the ball that I catch, then we're already at a deficit. You're looking for me to do everything in order to be that quote unquote real man. I don't need you for that. I'm out here with killers every goddamn day. I ain't gotta prove my man. I'm not going in the world to fight, then coming home to fight. Right? I'm not listening to no motherfucker that tell me I got to do some extracurricular He-Man shit just for you to submit, because submission just simply means following instructions. You submit to your employer every fucking day. Every day. You submit to your pastor every Sunday. You sit where they say sit. You read what they say read. You pay when they say pay. You stand when they say stand. That's just like a fucking concert. And you do that shit every Sunday. You submit to every motherfucking body you respect. The fact that you don't give a shit means you don't respect. And if you don't respect, then that's fine. Stay over there. Or you can come over here and spend the night and fuck me and then go on Facebook and say I'm gay after you fuck me, which is dumb. But God bless, because all y'all bisexual anyway, so maybe y'all used to fucking gay people. I don't give a shit. All I'm saying and all I ever say is it's men's fault, men's fix. It's not black's fault, because these ain't your women. Your woman is your woman. As a monolith, they're their own. They're damn near their own ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
Let them do what they're gonna do. Let's see how far they go without the supplemental income of thirsty niggas trying to get some pussy. And let's see where that goes. But they can do that over there. You grab your people and you move over here. You know what I'm saying? There is no other place. There's a difference between the people and the government. Even though the government is supposed to be the people, there's a difference between the people and the government. So there could be systemic racism. And I agree that exists.
Okay.
Totally agree with that, right? However, there's also personal prejudice, right?
Yep.
So a personal prejudice is tribalism. Like, I would prefer to be around my old people, or I prefer not to be around those people over there, right? Yep. Personal prejudice doesn't stop you from doing shit. And as long as the system allows you to eat, personal prejudice will still feed you. You know what I'm saying? It's when I was looking for a job, it's crazy that in my life I've been hired by gays, racists, you know what I'm saying? Just cool white dudes, hood black dudes, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, the two groups that have never given an opportunity to the point that it's so common. My man's told me about it. Because I ain't even want to go up on this one. Women, black women, which is why I hate going to Home Depot. Too many goddamn black women, they can't cut lumber. and educated black men if he's the only one in the office. My boy took me on that one. He was like, "Yo, how many black guys are there?" I was like, "Yeah, I got interviewed by a black dude. It's gonna be cool." He said, "How many other black guys are there?" He's like, "I was like, that's the only one." He's like, "Yo, you ain't gonna get that job, yo." Like if a nigga start talking about he in a frat and get it, so so you have motherfuckers go to liberal schools that act like bitches, and you got bitches, and they tell you all the time like, "Yo, we don't really want that type of energy over here." You know what I'm saying? We need an effeminate energy. You know what I'm saying? We want a man to fuck, but we don't want a man to dictate us. Cool. So y'all stay over there. You're not my group. I don't care about your color. You're not my group. If I go hang out with the Nigerians, Nigerians will not talk to me. They be like, "Oh, you American black." Not my group.
Why?
You know what I'm saying?
Why are Nigerians not talking to you?
I don't know, man. They mean to me. They be deep as shit too.
I can give you a reason, and it ain't just Nigerians. It's all groups that come over here. They really not rocking with Black Americans, especially Black American heterosexual men.
That's true. That's true.
But
There's a
that's-
reason for that.
Well,
You know,
Hey,
It's,
Mitchell,
it's mentality. But look,
Mitchell,
check this
Mitchell.
out. Check this out.
Go ahead.
We on the 2 hour mark, and
Yeah.
let's start wrapping up with some last thoughts.
that's-
But before we do that, what's going on, internet land? I want to send a reminder to Cash App Tribe Power and donate some love to these gentlemen that's giving their time and their passion. Enjoy the show. I'll wrap up and say that I agree with Oak that it's time to tribe up. And I ask the viewers, evaluate your own life right now in the status that you are right now with just you or you with a family. Are you vulnerable to where somebody come in and kill your family, take your resources, and you ain't got no way of defending that? So, regardless of the differences of what we stand on or what we believe in and the things we do agree on, one thing we can agree on is we do need to tribe up, whether it's agreeing with a sister or with a non-sister. Whether we got to get something in your life. You got to get something together, because right now, look at Ukraine, for example. You see what I'm saying? And we ain't even got the power of Ukraine as individuals within this culture. So, hey, it's time to think about it and tribe up. That's all I got to say. It's my closing remarks.
Let me go next. I agree with Oak too. I love the tribe up ideology. Even though we might have some disagreements in how what that looks like, or how that's supposed to go. The concept overall, though, I think is very necessary. I think recognizing that the opposition exists and then trying to strategize against that opposition. I think one of the things that I disagree with is the role that women play. And I think oftentimes we look at, a lot of people tend to look at women as if they don't matter, when in actuality, that's going to be the soil that births your nation. And healthy-minded women are essential if you're looking to turn out a healthy product, right? You can't have a product that is disregarded and just relegated to, care about you, how much can you suck or whatever, if you're expecting to turn out a healthy product. So I think there has to be a higher regard, even if they're not necessarily invited to the war room. There has to be a higher regard for the position that women hold in these in the resurgence, and whatever woman you decide to go with. And then last, Mitchell made a comment. He said something about tawny men get the all Madden setting while others are playing pro level. And to me, that kind of just goes in line with what we've been saying all along. And ultimately, if we're going to be able to tribe up effectively, we're going to have to learn how to strategize and work together and figure out ways to overcome what it is that we face with, and stop blaming women. Because that's weak.
All right, because I know Gorilla gonna take forever, so I said this. Shout out to Quasi for the.
I'll be women that take forever. Right?
Shout out to Quasi for the commercial breaks. It's just kind of cool. I like that shit. Mitch talking about the man league. My grandmother told me at 12 years old that I got to be 3 times better than white boys to get the same results. So I'm 3 times better. people need to catch up. I will say this. Last two things. One, I don't have a disregard for women. I just don't think when they put clothes on, these motherfuckers is women. But as far as, but I'm just saying they don't have no feminine traits unless they beg them. You never see them talking soft spoken unless they need some shit. They just, yeah, it's like niggas. They become the man they want to have, and then want a man to outman them being a man. I don't get time for that shit. As far as the Ukraine thing goes, this should be to see how easily your neighbors can push you out the way, and how easily as they pushing you out the way, you can get abandoned. You know what I'm saying? By the people that's pushing you, that's getting pushed with you. That should be a determining factor of you have to create an identity that's based around a system or a service. You can't just keep following the most outspoken, well-spoken person. You can't keep, because the mission gonna die with the man.
Yeah.
You have to create a system. And obviously, Ice Cube showed us that Black America, which is women, gays, and felons, don't want a system. They want the anarchy. So that means that you have to create your own little pocket tribe where you have your own function. So when everything else falls apart, you're in an advantageous position to benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? For everybody, y'all play with crypto, but for every time the crypto falls, somebody got rich off that. You know what I'm saying? So one person's tragedy is another person's come up. So we need to set up our way in a position in which that when the tragedy happens that we all see coming, that we solution based and we come up from that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. My man.
So I gotta, let me clear my damn name because no, I don't want to beat women. I just want to beat that woman. If I was in that position, right? Second, I guess, take long. That's it is what it is. Overall, here's what's crazy, right? We blame white supremacy or white men or this, that, and a third. But truth be told, those are going to be the ones that probably protect this country the most. And the reason why we may get treated the way we are is because maybe we are their spoils of war. You know what I'm saying? It's about who gets to keep the niggas. So, right? I mean, that's what the game is. Who gets to keep the niggas, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's just what it is. And to keep the niggas is to keep it matriarchal for their dynamics. You know what I'm saying? So hence, because if Russia pop over here and it's a war, you know what I'm saying, who's gonna fight it? The same white cracker motherfuckers that might call you nigga is the same ones that will fight for this country because why? They do it for the logo. You know what I'm saying? And America is their fucking logo. It is what it is, and they'll die and bleed for this shit. And we are the spoils of war, even though we feel like we get the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers come to here. And this is why Africans and other people don't like us because they're like, nigga, you living. You know what I'm saying? You living like, yo, if you compare the minimum wage of worldwide versus America, we're more. And even if we're making less, we have more. Think about it. You go to Africa, there's no free housing. You go to Mexico, there's no free housing. You know what I'm saying? The project is only fucked up because how we care for it. These projects were for white, Irish, and Italians and Jews before they were for us. People think you think they built Cabrini Green to put niggas in it? No, they put other people. When they got the niggas out, and when they got white people out, they put the niggas in there. And we fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? And then if they take the niggas out, keep it and do a little bit of rehab and just put upper earning, black and white folks, then the shit is a condo and it's worth $400,000 a unit. So that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? We call it the projects, but it's a building. It's no different than an apartment building that's just upper class. That's all it is. It's just a class of people that occupy it and how they treat it. But we be like, oh, the projects is a trap. But then we'll go spend then we'll leave the projects, go to another apartment building, a high rise that's bigger than the projects that we got out of. Same shit, same thing. Probably have more square footage in the projects because they're older building and pay more and don't have no problems because it's the people that occupy it. So I'm saying the same white supremacy we complain about is the same white supremacy is probably going to be protecting us because if Russia come over here and want that smoke, you know what I'm saying? You know, we ain't got the manpower to do it because we still shoot like this. You know, we think it's, you know, so that's one. The next part I just want to say is, you know, whatever it is, if you're talking about organization, it's about how we what's the word? It starts with a C. It's like submission, but with cooperation. You know what I'm saying? And you know the reason why I agree with Oak that men have to do it because men have more respect for each other. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we got 4 men, different opinions. Some of us, you know, agree to others, but at the end of the day, none of us would disrespect each other. And all of us, though we might disagree, you know what I'm saying? We still have a level of respect, right? I could be like, yo, man, the nigga Vaughn shit, he kicking me some bullshit, but I still love the nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's a respect that men have it regardless. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. You never hear men say, yo, I don't get along with other men. Only women do. So women are honestly telling you how horrible they are, either her or her friends. You hear, oh, I don't get along with women. How you don't get along with women? How is that a general statement? You know what I'm saying? Men, you don't ever hear men, I don't get along with men. You know what I'm saying? Men get along fine. You know what I'm saying? We all could come in separate, never meet each other. You know what I'm saying? And leave and come there and drink beer and talk about teams and hip hop and play cards and play that and leave like, yeah, man, you know, I met Black, oh, he cool, man. I met, oh, man, oh, funny as a motherfucker. You know, I met Vaughn, man. Vaughn is a chill motherfucker. He laid back. You know what I'm saying? Listen to your woman. Yeah, you know, Vaughn wife, you know, I ain't like the way she said this. And then, you know, crazy wife, you know, the shoes she had on, it was like she was trying to tell me her shoes are better than mine. I'm like, how the fuck you have a problem? You know what I'm saying? How the fuck you have a problem? But the men don't. The men like, man, nah, we cool. You know how many men don't be cool with other women's husbands is because the women be having conflict with each other. And that tells you they have an inability to cooperate. This is why when Kevin Samuels get on and he says, what's that show, whatever, survival shit, the woman damn near died 4 or 5 times, whereas men built shit and would have built a whole fucking civilization if you gave them more time. You know what I'm saying? So the context of what women are, and so people think like, I hate women, I want to kill them. No. What I'm saying is that we have this natural blindness to assume that, yo, automatically woman is good, especially when we see a small part like, yeah, Quezzy, you got a good wife. Vaughn, you got a good wife. So, of course, you're seeing it through the eyes of my wife. But like Oak said, it's an individual fucking thing, an individual accomplishment that you find that. But when you look at it as the spectrum of the majority, it's very difficult. And so when we're trying to do things and build a tribe and build our own nation, these are going to be part of our obstacles. See, your wife is not your obstacle. But when Oak is trying to build something for young men, he got to go through Black women. When Ice Cube tried to build something to give all Black America, he got to go through Black women. You know what I'm saying? And they're always the ones opposing shit. Barack Obama opposing shit. So I'm saying the shit pop off and come here. The same people we complain about as far as white supremacy or white men are going to be the ones that protect it. And if they do, once again, that's the way it affects Black folks. I wanted to round out to that is that we will be branded a different thing, but we will be their spoils of war because they like, look, you benefit from what the fuck we're doing. You know what I'm saying? So if we give you the ends of the bread, be happy because you could have got no fucking bread. You know what I'm saying? So that's how Black people are affected, unless we tribe up and, you know, and be like, hey, at least give us the ends and the slice next to it. You know what I'm saying? With some peanut butter and just let us be. Let us have enough to make a nice whole sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, speaking of wives, shout out to my wife for you know, give me all these snacks I was eating. You know, she held it down for me tonight, boy. Had me some wine there. Shout out to the wife and shout out to my son for helping my camera give me some better quality in this thing. You know what I'm saying? My son Ramir. Shout out, but we about to end this thing, y'all, man. Hey, I thank everybody who attended. What's the brother's name? Michelle. Man, I appreciate you showing up, brother. You be contributing the energy to the live, and I appreciate you. And on that, y'all.
Question, you see this?
We catch y'all next time.
Hold on, Black. Before you go, you see this?
Yeah.
I bought it for like $10 or some shit, but look at it. So this might help with your lighting and shit, and then it has like lines and clips on. Here you can put a phone, but you know, shit, $10. I mean,
yeah, man. I'm out in the country too. I'm out in the country and the internet out here in country France sucks in the mug, man.
Oh, okay.
I gotta find me
some Amazon or nothing. Amazon don't come out there.
Nah, man, we out in the boondocks. We out.
Okay.
Man, ain't no but cows. Ain't no but cows and badgers and bears and all.
That's what we trying to be. I want to be away from this motherfucker.
Hey, we're gonna have to do a show one day to figure out, man. We're gonna ask, man, are we really Americans? Because everybody act like black is their own monolith, but we live under American rules. I need to figure out if we just colors, if we're Americans. If we're Americans.
I'm glad you said that, man, because Sincere Fly just made he been over here going off with the Sincere Fly, as he said, Africans and island people need to quit complaining about Black Americans and fix their own raggedy countries. And then he said, why do Africans and islands bleach their skin? They are more brainwashed than any other group. They always get pimped out by Europeans and Asians. So, you know, these are things that, you know, we can we look forward to kind of maybe adding that to part of the discussion too as we move forward.
Yeah, we could do, because that's, you know, Caribbean is my heritage. I could kind of tell you what it used to be to what it is now. You know what I'm saying? To some degree.
We put that on the board.
All right. Hey, gentlemen, salute. Salute to everybody, man. Everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody that, you know, cash that, you know what I'm saying? You know, appreciate that. And yo, man, appreciate I'm gonna say this, man. Appreciate the Black man for creating this platform. And I'm just gonna ask one favor, Black. Can I get the Joe Biden? Come on, man. I need that before we go, because I need a crack pipe.
Before we go.
I need a crack pipe.
Hey, y'all notice the lighter skinned niggas always want to be black. Quasi call himself black. Gorillas is black as shit, bro.
We want to be the most pro-black. Hey, we want to be look at Huey Newton versus Bobby Seale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Angry because they had to prove themselves.
Hey, right. Y'all want to get racially profiled so bad.
Hey, on that note.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Joe Biden, shout out for the crack pipes that I ain't get yet. But listen,
we out.
See y'all next Wednesday. Peace.